Just smaller versions of a bigger one. Are you the rivers in your veins, or not? The flakes that become snow, and you might believe that everything is broken. Fragments of sentences we haven't spoken, but maybe. Are we just jagged lines across a buried sea? Are the shapes inside a sundial the same as the arms of trees? And saying we're a shell of what we used to be. Maybe we're smaller. Just smaller, and I get lost in finding comfort this time. Fractals all around us, in hopes that I have found us. There's beauty in these broken zones. Now I know there's nothing to be feared. Oh, can we taste unfinished? Are we just clouds up in the northern hemisphere, taking up dreams that I've left for, that you've always feared? You'll get mad at the world for spinning round and round, looking for a formula, safe and sound. And I get lost in finding comfort this time. Fractals all around, in hopes that I have found. There's beauty in these broken designs. Now I know there is nothing to be feared. I know if the miles get long, I'll still see you up the road. Even though this is all known, I'll keep carrying a little more. Do these lines stretch on? Are we just searching for a little highway map? Are the lines between us just a path to a vacant past? And you still make me think think of what we used to be. Maybe we're smaller. Are we just small?
From the first time I set my eyes on you, I didn't know from the start. I didn't know how you turned my life around, or how in love I'd be with who you are. But you showed me what it means to be loved. The way you touch me, hold me quietly. You're everything I am not. And when I have you in my arms, I feel undone. So in a long way, I've come to say I love you. Well, every day I open my eyes next to you is a day I'm grateful for, because this thunderstorm well, needs a strong woman, and that's who you are. So we'll start today and build our world together. The way we love is the way we will stand. And I know, yes I know, I will last the stormy weather. Just as long as I got you. But you showed me what it means to be loved. The way you touch me, hold me quietly. You're everything I am not. It's when I have you in my arms, I feel undone. So in a long way, I've come to say that you showed me what it means to be loved. The way you touch me, hold me quietly. You're everything I am. It's when I have you in my